Hello everybody, I'm student meteorologist Gavin Sandel, joined here with my forecaster Ben Iaia. Ben, we have had some pretty good conditions starting this week. What's it looking like for the weekend?
Yeah, so I am watching the chance for some showers, especially early on in the weekend for our Friday and early on Saturday, but it should be drying out for the afternoon on Saturday and for the rest of the weekend.
That's good. And those showers on Friday, Saturday, will they be widespread, heavy, light?
They'll be on the lighter side. Not everybody's going to get them, but there is still a possibility. So if you are going out Friday, Saturday, just bring a rain jacket or an umbrella and you should be okay.
Fair enough. And I did hear that we're going to be having some pretty warm conditions next week.
Yeah, absolutely. We could be tickling 80 for the middle part of next week. For early October, that's pretty wild.
Yeah, so anyway, we have some nature in the news coming up for you, and we do have Dave Guerrero with a feature talking about the inland flooding in Pennsylvania. Anyways, let's kick it off with the nature in the news.
Confirmed only about 35 years ago, red sprites are a very rare type of lightning phenomena. Red sprites form from an electrical impulse from the top of thunderstorms, typically ones that are producing lots of cloud-to-ground lightning. Red sprites also form well above the surface in the ionosphere, the layer of the atmosphere about 55 miles above the ground. Such a phenomenon is happening high up in the atmosphere can make it extremely difficult to study, along with the fact that red sprites can flare and dissipate within a fraction of a second. It could be easier to remotely sense other planets to better understand red sprites on Earth, as a group of scientists in Tel Aviv theorized that red sprites could form in the atmospheres of Venus, Jupiter, and Saturn. This was all confirmed when this Juno spacecraft observed red sprites in the atmosphere of Jupiter in 2020. If a strong thunderstorm is visible from a distance, keep an eye to the sky and don't blink, or you might miss these elusive sprites.
Taking things west, the threat always exists of severe and detrimental wildfires in their drier and warmer climate. How has wildfire season stacked up for them this year? In short, there has been much less activity compared to average. According to the National Fire Interagency Center, as of September 27th, the U.S. has seen just over 2.3 million acres of land impacted by wildfires. This value is much below the average of 5.8 million acres, which is about the area of New Hampshire, burned by the end of September. In fact, since 2013, this is the lowest amount of acreage that wildfires have burned. Since the official peak of wildfire season is during the month of August, officials can confidently say that this year will fall below what is usually seen. Though we have had less activity, we still have gone through tragic events relating to wildfires this year. The Hawaiian island of Maui saw a destructive wildfire in August that stranded thousands of people and killed just under 100 in the town of Lahaina. Heading into the weekend, the West will continue to experience inconducive conditions for wildfire development. A cold front will move through the Pacific Northwest, bringing rain for the region and even some snow up in the Cascades.
After a wet and muggy start to the beginning of the week, we are going to be looking at a drier period and a slight warming period as we go into the weekend. For our Friday, this low over the Ohio Valley is going to begin to die out, although it will bring some spotty showers to western and central Pennsylvania. And this low pressure off the east coast of the United States is going to be bringing some heavier rain for eastern Pennsylvania and coastal parts of the Mid-Atlantic and southern New England. On Saturday, that low that was bringing the heavier rain will begin to push out of the way, although I will keep the chance for some showers across the I-95 corridor, especially in Philadelphia and the Philadelphia Metro, along with New Jersey and the Delmarva, although across central and western Pennsylvania into the Ohio Valley, mostly sunny conditions will return with some mild temperatures for Saturday. If you're planning on going out to the Penn State Northwestern game in Evanston, Illinois, this forecast is for you. 60 degrees for our tailgates in the early morning. We have a noon kickoff with a high of 74 and mostly sunny skies. And we will be reaching the high temperature in Evanston at around the fourth quarter, around 3:30 p.m., about 77 degrees. So bring that sunscreen as it's going to be very sunny. All that pleasant weather experienced in the Chicago metro area is going to be building into our neck of the woods, with high pressure dominating for our Sunday, with warm conditions expected. In fact, it's going to be so warm, it could be feeling like early summer out there. So for our Friday night, we will keep the showers around and the clouds with a high of 65 degrees. For Friday night, we will begin to clear out, although I will keep the clouds around with a low of 55. On Saturday, it'll be a high of 71 degrees. So if you're going out to any fall festivities across downtown State College, it's going to be looking really great to go out there. Mostly sunny skies and pleasant conditions, high of 71. And for Saturday night, if you're planning on going out for dinner or out in the town in the evening, it's going to be a low of 53 with mostly clear skies. And for our Sunday, it'll be feeling like late spring or even early summer here in State College with a high of 75. So it's not going to be feeling like early October out there with mostly sunny skies. David Guerrero is up next with a feature on inland flooding in Pennsylvania.
In the heart of Pennsylvania, a hidden crisis is unfolding. The serene landscapes and the picturesque valleys have been marred by a familiar issue, from the Susquehanna River to the rolling hills of the Poconos to the vast rivers of the Alleghenies. Communities across the Keystone State are grappling with the devastating consequences of inland flooding. Inland flooding has been a recurring challenge in Pennsylvania's history. One of the most tragic and well-documented incidents occurred in Johnstown in the late 19th century. This devastating event occurred on May 31st, 1889, when the South Fork Dam, located 14 miles upstream from Johnstown, failed catastrophically. Before the flood, the South Fork Dam had been neglected and poorly maintained. Key modifications to its original design, including lowering the spillway and removing discharge pipes, compromised its structural integrity. Additionally, the dam's maintenance was lacking, with leaks and erosion not adequately addressed. As a result of heavy rainfall, the dam could no longer contain the rising waters of Lake Conemaugh. The floodwaters swept away entire communities, causing massive destruction and claiming more than 2,200 lives. Since the Johnstown flood, Pennsylvania has experienced numerous instances of inland flooding, often attributed to heavy rainfall and the state's complex geography.
The other factor that contributes is the terrain, especially in the Central Mountains. Basically, the steep terrain leads to the water sort of falling and funneling down into these valleys and can lead to significant inland flooding across the Commonwealth.
Pennsylvania experiences a variety of storms that could lead to flooding, but a majority of its floods are due to heavy rainstorms and remnants of tropical cyclones. Heavy rain, often associated with slow-moving weather systems, are a significant cause of flooding in Pennsylvania. These storms can dump large amounts of rainfall over a relatively short period, overwhelming rivers and streams. While less frequent in Pennsylvania compared to coastal states, remnants of tropical cyclones can also trigger significant flooding. As these systems move inland, they can bring copious amounts of moisture and strong winds.
Yeah, a lot of the systems have at least tropical origins. That tends to be the case. We get a lot of Gulf moisture coming up. However, the most significant events are almost always associated with tropical systems. Again, Ida, Lee, Agnes, those are the big ones, but there's even some smaller ones that have affected Pennsylvania over the years.
Inland flooding is a familiar occurrence in the Commonwealth, and the frequency of this event will increase as the Keystone State deals with the growing threat of climate change.
There are plenty of studies that are looking at the impacts of climate change, and I think what's sort of a consensus, at least in central Pennsylvania, is that moisture is going to become more prominent. Even in the last couple of years, we've seen that our overnight low temperatures in the summer have been higher because of increased moisture content, and with increased moisture leads to more ability for heavy rainfall production and flooding, and so undoubtedly that's something that we are going to continue to experience in Pennsylvania, and we need to be prepared for it accordingly.
With this in mind, here are some essential tips to follow during inland flooding. First, stay informed by tuning into local news and weather updates. Authorities often issue flood warnings and advisories, so it's most ideal to pay attention to these alerts in order to gauge the severity of the situation. Next, have an emergency kit ready, including essentials like water, non-perishable food, a flashlight, batteries, and important documents. Be prepared to evacuate if necessary, and know your evacuation routes, and have a plan in place for your family and pets. If you're in a flood-prone area, consider elevating valuable possessions and moving to higher ground. Never attempt to drive through flooded roads, as it is challenging to gauge the depth of the water and your vehicle can easily be swept away.
If a flash flood warning is issued, we encourage folks to go to higher ground. The other slogan we use is turn around, don't drown. If you're driving in a car, it only takes about 1 foot to 2 feet of moving water to sweep away a full-size SUV, only 6 inches to sweep away a person. And so we encourage people to move away from flooded waters. You don't want to be in them, unsure if the road has maybe washed out underneath. So get to higher ground and ideally do not drive through flooded waters.
Instead, it is best to avoid any flooded roads and to remember the helpful slogan, turn around, don't drown. After the flooding has subsided, it is important to be cautious when returning to your home. Floodwaters can leave behind debris, create sinkholes, and weaken structures. Wait for authorities to declare it safe before re-entering your property. Inland flooding can be caused by local storms as much as by the remnants of hurricanes and tropical storms alike, making it imperative to be vigilant year-round. With the ever-increasing challenges posed by the increase of flooding events, recognizing the risks of inland flooding and taking proactive steps to mitigate its impact remain paramount for the well-being of communities across the Keystone State. For Weather or Not, I'm David Guerrero.
After a dreary start to our week, I'm finally looking at some pretty pleasant conditions overall. With our weekend recap, 65 degrees will be the high on Friday, although it will be a pretty dreary day like we had earlier this week, with mostly cloudy skies and some rain chances overall, with a low of 55. Our Saturday will begin our really nice period of time with a high of 71 degrees under mostly sunny skies, the low of 53. So if you're going out to any festivities for fall, it's going to be a really great day to head outdoors. And our Sunday will begin our really first day of summer-like feels. In fact, it'll be 75 degrees, so it'll be feeling more like June out there under mostly sunny skies with a low of 53. Taking a look at our extended forecast, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday will be the peak of our heat with highs possibly touching 80 degrees, upper 70s throughout the first half of the week, with temperatures really crashing as we go into Thursday and Friday, although we will still be pretty much well above average for this time of year. And now it is time for your Weather Whiz quiz.
And that's absolutely right. Your message that you explained before, not feeling like October, is completely right. Those temperatures are definitely not going to look good for the question that we're talking about this week. And our question is, in what week of October does fall foliage usually peak in State College? Is it A, the week of October 8th, B, the week of October 15th, C, the week of October 22nd, or D, the week of October 29th? If you guessed B, the week of October 15th, you would in fact be correct.
Wow, Gavin, that's only about 2 weeks away, but it's not going to be feeling like that at all.
No, absolutely not. And those temperatures, those high temperatures, they kind of drag that date back of the fall foliage coming down. So it's definitely something that we want to watch for.
Absolutely.
So with that, with me, with Ben, and with all the crew of Weather or Not, thank you so much for watching this week's episode, and stay tuned for next week's episode as well.